Hello everyone and welcome back. Today it's a little dark and rainy and cold, so I thought it might be nice if we had a little warm cup of tea together while we talked about something a bit magical. We'll discuss a little book I found that's all about voodoo and hoodoo magic in New Orleans. So as we have a warm cup of tea, we can learn a little bit about the spiritual magic that exists in one of America's finest cities. Okay, so let me go ahead and get your tea ready and we'll go sit down at the table. All right, now let me show you what types of teas we have. We have this one. This is a pumpkin spice chai. Our handcrafted pumpkin blend. There's a little tag. Put that up here. Our handcrafted pumpkin chai blend boasts a perfectly balanced full-leaf Assam black tea base with seasonal spices including cinnamon, ginger, green cardamom pods, allspice, cloves, and pumpkin flavor to get you warmed up for the season. This tea makes an elevated pumpkin latte with the simple addition of your choice of steamed milk. I wish I had my latte stirrer or my milk frother. The ingredients are, let me take a look, black tea, cinnamon, ginger root, green cardamom pods, allspice, cloves, black pepper, and pumpkin flavor. That sounds really good. And then I have this one here. You can see all that tea. This is a Choco Mint Truffle black tea. So you can try this one too. I think I'm going to do the Choco Mint Truffle. Is it mint? Yeah. Okay. I think this is the one I want. Because chai has caffeine and it's late. Although this is a black tea too, isn't it? So I might just be a little late. Do I have a little bit of... That's okay. There we go. Let's see. Probably have this one. Okay, let's give them each a smell. Open it up. Oh my gosh, that's really amazing. I wish you could smell that. The only way I can describe it is chocolate mint. It smells like chocolate. Alright, so there's that one. Smells so good. Very cold. pumpkin spice chai. Also black tea, so I'm gonna have to make it kind of light. This one's really hard to open. There we go. Let's get this open. Oh my gosh. This one might be a clear winner. That's special. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this one. Let's open it. Oh, it comes in little tea bags, so I don't use a steeper. This might have won. You have your delicate little tea bag. I love these. I think they're so nice and so pretty. Okay, I think I'm gonna make myself this one. So let's go boil some water real quick, and then I'll pour you a cup. Okay? Back. Okay, I poured some water for us, so let me pour you a cup. There. Just a little bit. And then we'll steep your pumpkin chai for about 3 to 5 minutes. And while that's steeping, I'll go ahead and get you to eat. Would you like pumpkin bread or cake? Cake. Okay, I'll be right back. You wait right here. Okay, I'm back. So, I made this cake for us. And there was just a little bit left. It's in this little see. Open it real quick. It's hard to open. It's a cake mess. But I made it with, I can show you, sparkly frosting. Oh, it's really good. Let me cut you a piece. Okay. So I'll put this away now. And I think the coffee, or the tea rather, is ready to go. Let's see. Look how steamy it is. Yeah. So let me just get a touch of sugar for you. I have this little sugar bowl with a little birdie on it. So let's just have some sugar. That's the sound of my dog. He's doing a lot of exciting. He wants the cake. Do you want to say hi to Rocky? Rocky, can you come here? Come on. Come on, jump up. Come on. This is Rocky. He's determined to have all the food in the house that ever was, right? Rocky, say hi. Rocky. You know what? This is how we do it. This is how we get him to look at the camera. There he is. I'm being awful. I shouldn't give him that. But that's okay. Put him down. He just wants to join the tea party. That's all he wants. Okay, but first I'm going to get you some sugar. I have this adorable little teaspoon that reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to make a bit of a sound. A little bit of sugar for us. Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. A bit of a sugar fiend. There. I don't think we need any cream today. Alright. So, you enjoy your cake. Give it to you. Alright, now that we have our tea, here it is. We are going to discuss voodoo magic in New Orleans, or voodoo figures in New Orleans. We're going to work only with Baron Samedi today because he's to me the most interesting one. But we'll look at other ones later in other videos because I have this nice deck of cards with so many of these figures on it. But we're going to work from this book here called Witch Queens, Voodoo Spirits and Hoodoo Saints. And in this book, it really shows us how voodoo came to be. It came to us through the African slave trade when African enslaved people were brought to New Orleans. And New Orleans, being on the Mississippi River, was the ideal location for this kind of trade, as terrible as it is, because the Mississippi River was so immense and traveled up through so much of the United States. If you ever look at a map, it's got so many fingers kind of coming off of it, and it's a central river in the United States. So a very important place where there was a lot of cultural mingling due to that trade. And the African enslaved people brought with them, of course, their African religious traditions. But due to the Louisiana Black Codes, they were required and baptized Catholic in order to conceal the people that they worshipped, the ancestral spirits that they worshipped. They would use a process called synchronization, which is essentially you synchronize your deity with the acceptable deity that you are supposed to worship. And this way, when we look at voodoo, it's very, very intermingled with Catholic theology. So the person we're looking at today, or the being we're looking at today, called Papa Samedi, Baron Samedi. He was synchronized with Saint Expedite. I don't even know how to say that. That's so embarrassing. It was a word I did not expect after all. Saint Expedite. As they are both associated with the dead, right? So that's one of those saints where often when you see Baron Samedi in New Orleans, you will see him synchronized with a saint behind him. And there are multiple saints he's synchronized with. But you see him as a skeleton with a saint standing behind him. So if you ever visit New Orleans and you see that, you see a skeleton before a saint, you know you are staring in the face of a great voodoo character, right? A great voodoo spirit known as Baron Samedi. Okay? So let's understand who he is. He is a great person to call on when all else fails. So if you're using voodoo magic, he is the one you call on to help you when there is no other option. He's a last resort. And he's a last resort because he is one of les morts, one of the people of the dead. Let me show you a little rendition of him. He's a little spooky. Let's go ahead and flip through. Going. Here he is. This is a picture of him. You see he's holding a cross. So you always see crosses in voodoo. This is actually Papa Guere. Okay. They're very easy to confuse. See, he's a skeleton smoking a cigarette. Paul Mall's is his favorite. He loves Pall Mall cigarettes. I personally preferred the Marlboro Lights. It was always my favorite back in the day. Yes, Papa, he smokes Pall Malls. Anyway. So, Baron Samedi is the head of a family of ancestral spirits called Les Morts, the dead, while Papa Guede presides over the Guede. The Guede are the personification of the ancestors and sexual regeneration. They are responsible for claiming the souls of the dead, helping to dig graves, and guiding the newly dead to the other side, where the souls of the dead pass on their way to Guinea, and Guinea is the realm of the dead. Now, actually, legend has it that if you put Baron Samedi's, I think it's Baron Samedi actually, Baron Samedi's veve, as it said here, his like symbol, at each of the 7 gates in New Orleans, then you will open up a pathway to Guinea. Now, his name is really cool because it means Baron Saturday. So he stands right in the middle between the day of crucifixion, which is Friday, and the day of resurrection, which is Sunday. So he is literally associated with Jesus on the cross. And this just makes him a little terrifying. He's associated with not only resurrection, with also zombieism, or the zombification, I suppose, the zombie form, the undead. So he's associated not just with Jesus, he's associated with undead Jesus. So he's a pretty terrifying figure for that reason. And if you can look at him again, this is just like, let's just take in this picture again. I feel like that's what I look like inside my soul. That's who I really am. I show this exterior, but inside, that's me. Okay. Because he is always depicted as being prepared to be buried Haitian style. And Haitian style burial is with a top hat, a black tuxedo, dark glasses, and cotton plugs in his nostrils. And he carries around his grave digger's tools, a shovel, a pickaxe, and a hoe. And I've always been the thing that makes it the most interesting to me is that he can refuse to dig your grave and say, no, you're not going to die yet. And I love that idea, no, Papa or Baron Samedi is not going to dig your grave today, no matter how much you might want him to. He can refuse to dig that grave. You don't want to know. You don't want to hear the soil hitting the ground as he shovels. It's not a good sign. Okay. Let's go on. So he has a few different forms. They have, and here I may butcher some of them, Baron Lacroix, the Baron of the Cross, Baron Criminel, Baron of the Criminal, and Baron Samedi, Baron of the Cemetery. And so we'll talk about Baron Criminel. Right? He is the first murderer considered the saint of all criminals, not unlike Cain from the Old Testament. Okay? So he is evil and violence personified, but he is also considered the spirit of justice. So this is fascinating to me, that the spirit of the criminal is also the spirit of justice. And so I think it throws into contention. What is true criminality? And I think as the United States, as an American myself, the United States is now dealing with this. The CEO has been essentially assassinated, and I suppose they found him, but we were all kind of questioning whether that was a crime in the sense that we're used to thinking about it, was it retribution, or was it plain murder, and does it count as retribution? For bureaucratic murder, and why is bureaucratic murder considered less violent than the killing of one. The bureaucratic murder of thousands garnered less attention than the gun death of one. So it was a kind of fascinating, the scales of justice seem to me, and I think a lot of Americans, to be confused, right? So I think if we cannot see the violence, then we do not believe it's violent. So it's very intriguing. So he is the criminal and the spirit of justice. So very much the figure of the vigilante, right? The vigilante justice. That is Baron Samedi, the vigilante justice. The justice that comes in the form of a criminal act. Very much like the murderer of the CEO. Justice that comes in the form of a criminal act. As you would see there. Okay, so he's called upon when all else has failed and when the most extreme of intervention has been required, right? Is required. So he pushes the individual to question the nature of right and wrong, innocence and guilt, and who is judge and jury. So again, very much like this murder of the CEO, we are forced to question what is right, right? We know that one shall not murder someone in the street. But if no amount of legislation, no amount of voting, no amount of protest can initiate any sort of change, then is not violence necessary? And that's the interesting, this is the type of figure that Baron Samedi is, right? When you know that your only recourse is an act of violence, an act of revenge, this is when you call upon him. It is at your darkest hour when justice, by necessity, must be violent. And it can be irritating to hear people moralize and say, well, it's wrong, you shouldn't celebrate it, or you shouldn't think about why it happened. When, as a country, the United States is engaged in so many acts of kind of necropolitical retaliation, that the United States as a government can decide who lives, what children live, what women live, what fathers live in other countries. And we suffer no moral recourse for those decisions. And yet when one of our own wealthy millionaires is shot on the street, what a great manhunt ensued. I think it's hard not to see the moral gray zone that exists, where it feels like our country is protecting the criminal and forcing the citizen to become a kind of vigilante. So, yeah, that was a bit of a run, but this character really does get us to think that. And it's no surprise that this kind of character would emerge from an enslaved population, one who has no recourse, correct? There are so many wrongs committed against them, but there is no one to go and say, hey, this was done against me. Can you go through the proper channels to handle this peacefully? There wasn't, right? And there was no law and order. Things needed to be settled. These things need to be settled within communities, because no one was coming to save you. And when nobody's coming to save you, that is when you call or you speak to Baron Criminal, right? You need Baron Criminal, you need the criminal when the justice system has failed, okay? So sometimes you need to bring out the criminal inside of you in order to fight the criminal outside of you. So vigilantism, I think, is a great way to say it. And I actually just ordered 2 books that I'm going to do a video on by Alan Moore. V for Vendetta, the graphic novel, and Watchmen. 2 books that contend with vigilantism. So we'll read about those, because I've been so fascinated by this political moment in our country. So I'm going to read those and maybe do a video on them. I don't know. But anyway. So if Baron Criminal is given offerings he doesn't like, he will attack those around him and threaten to bite chunks of flesh from the arms of the one who is possessed by him. While Baron Criminal is an aspect of Baron Samedi, he is a not popular spirit among New Orleans voodooists, who are known for their emphasis on healing. Okay. Baron Lacroix, however, owns the graves inside the cemeteries. He is the judge who resides in the center of the cross through which the dead must pass from the world of the visibles to the world of the invisibles. I love that idea, right? The Guinea, the land of the dead, is essentially an invisible reality that exists beside us. Okay, so we are in the visible realm. We shall pass into the invisible realm of Guinea and our deaths. The cemetery is where the bones of the ancestors lie, so Baron Samedi knows the dead's secrets. Okay, now we'll end this brief little discussion of Baron Samedi. With the invocation you can recite in order to open the gates to Guinea, the land of the invisibles. Now, this is the invocation, so listen carefully. It is 7 nights, 7 moons, 7 gates, 7 tombs. I'll say it one more time. 7 nights, 7 moons, 7 gates, 7 tombs. This is a representation of the 7 days following a person's death. If you lay Baron Samedi's Veve at the original gates throughout the French Quarter, where each of the different cemetery guards reside, and you give them the proper offerings, then they will open the gates to Guinea for you. But there is no guarantee that you will be allowed to leave. So, if you wish to invoke the world of the invisibles in Guinea, and you wish to say 7 nights, 7 moons, 7 gates, 7 tombs, you must be very careful that you know what you are doing, because you may never return to the land of the visible. Okay? So, that is Baron Samedi. If you ever go to New Orleans and you see the skeleton standing before the saint, you know that is the synchronization. You know that hidden in the cloak of a Catholic saint is a voodoo ancestral spirit. And in this case, he is the spirit of criminality and justice. He is the spirit of death. He is the one you call upon when you know no one else to call upon. He is the character of desperate times. Look at him one more time, just because I love him. The character of desperate times, but he's also a character of hedonism, of enjoying life, enjoying all of its parties, its excesses. So he is, when you wish for the rule breaker to come out, somebody is who you call. All right. So I'll see you again soon. Hopefully I'll be able to have my little deck of cards that I have gotten with all of the different voodoo spirits and guides, and we'll be able to look at them more carefully. But I thought I'd give you a little taste of the ancestral spirit that I feel is really with us currently in this political moment. I feel like he's here with us and he's winking. And we'll see what happens. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed your tea and your cake, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.